And obviously, the latest two services I know everyone's excited about is Truby, but who is out of their mind about impact health sharing? This is a special time, a special opportunity. I don't think very many companies, very many opportunities or individuals find themselves in the position that we're in right now. We are in a very powerful position. There's no other company like ACN. There's no other company offering what ACN is offering. We stand alone. Whenever there's something great out there, there's always competition. You know, yes, we have competition with other people offering services. Yes, we have competition. There are other direct selling companies. But do you realize we are the only direct selling company today that's relevant, that combines services with the direct selling industry? If you want to be in direct selling, you want to offer services, you want to offer the services we offer, ACN is your only choice. What does that mean? We're in a powerful position. We're in a very powerful position and a window of time that every one of you and any one of you that choose to build a big business, you can. You can. You know, when are you ever in a situation when you look to the right, you look to the left, and there's no competition with exactly what we're doing? All I can tell you is that I know there's a lot of new people in this room. A lot of you, it's your first event, and all of you, thank you for being here. A lot of people are streaming online. We have thousands of people watching this online. Can we give all the people online that are watching this now, can we give them a hand? Thousands of people. I think it's six countries are watching this. People are checking out what's going on. And I got to tell you, if you want to take advantage of what's going on right now, obviously you got to implement all the things that you've been hearing about, do the basics, you know, all these things. But what I want to do is I want to just talk about one thing. I want to talk what I believe is the secret sauce. I want to talk about the one thing that I think everyone needs to deeply comprehend, deeply understand, deeply implement, and that's what separates just being an IBO and being a massive IBO. How many of you want to build your business, not just, hey, you know, I built a nice residual. How many of you would like to build momentum beyond your imagination? Okay, now what is momentum? Momentum, the way I like to define it in ACN, is just defined like this. How many new IBOs are joining your business, acquiring customers, every day, every week, every month? That defines momentum. If you have one a week, that's one thing. If you have 10 a week, is that better, yes or no? Would you like 20 a week one day? 50 a week? How many of you would like to create momentum that is absolutely out of control? Okay? Now, people, of course, we all want that, right? Because obviously the more IBOs joining your team, the more customers are coming in, the more revenue's growing, and the faster and bigger your residuals grow. That's what the opportunity is all about. But how do you create big momentum? How many of you would like to be in a position where you have a room just like this many people in the room just like this, and every single person is on your team? Who would be excited if that was your position? How do you do this? How do you do this? I want you to imagine this. Two events going on in the United States. One on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. This many people, every single person's in your team. And you don't know 90% of the people. Would any of you be excited? How do you do this? Okay? The question is not just how do you recruit somebody, how do you get someone interested in the business, how can you handle and manage big momentum? Because I've met many new people, and I'll ask them, so what do you think about ACN? I love it, I'm going to do it. Okay, really? Are you really? Yeah, I'm so excited. I go, how would you like to have 100 brand new people join in your team, become IBOs your first month in the business, second month? Who cares, right? And the response is always the same. People are like, oh, I'd love that. I go, do you? Really? Be careful what you wish for. Think about it. Because how are you going to help all those people? You just had 100 people join your business. Those people have questions. Do people have questions, yes or no? Would you like all those people to get qualified, yes or no? Would you like those people to get more customers than just getting qualified, yes or no? Would you like those people to set up a meeting and start inviting people, yes or no? Would you like to get those people trained, yes or no? Well, who's going to do all of that? I mean, think about it. People are like, man, I wish I had 100 people joined by, but really? Do you have any idea how busy you're going to be this month? My topic that I'm going to cover with you, I think, is the single most important thing that everyone needs to deeply understand, deeply comprehend, and implement in their business. It's something we always talk about. It makes so much sense when we talk about it. But the people that understand it deeply and the people that do it right, they're going to be the ones that when we are in a stadium and we have 18,000 people, you're going to be the ones that are overriding that level of growth. Who wants great momentum? Okay? So let me talk about what I want to talk about. I want you to imagine this. The other founders are back. We're all similar to everybody in this room. We all had rough upbringings. When you have a rough upbringing, that does one of two things to you, typically, right? One, that could be your excuse. You know, your excuse of why nothing's working out. You know, nothing goes good for me. Why would you ever expect anything good for me? Because I had a rough upbringing. Or the other thing happens. It lights a fire under you. And you say, you know what? You feel the pain of that kind of upbringing. You say, you know what? I'm not going to live like this. My kids are not going to live like this. I'm going to do so. I'm getting out of this situation, and it lights a fire in you. Does that all make sense to you? That's where we came from. But we had a fire lit under us. The one thing that Mike and Greg and Robert and I, we all had, we had high ambition. We just had vision. We just believed that we could do something great. What we had was low opportunity, low choices, like a lot of people do. What do? I didn't know what to do. You know, when you have an entrepreneurial mindset at a young age, that's great, but what do? When I was literally 19 years old, I'm trying to figure out what to do with my life. I did anything and everything I could. I'm thinking, I got to figure this out. I got to make some money. And when I say I was broke, I know a lot of people in this room have had financial challenges. And I'm not going to go into all my stories, but let me tell you something. We relate to pain. We relate to being broke. We relate to, you know, I had a car. I was in the insurance business when I was 19, 20 years old. I had a Dodge Colt. I don't know if anybody remember that car. I had to push start it. The starter didn't work. I couldn't fix it. So if I wanted to drive somewhere, I had to push start my Dodge Colt. And I was 19 years old. I was working for a friend, a small family. My first job was selling, ironically enough, health insurance. And so I'd go in the office, I'd set appointments, and I'd go and I'd try to sell health insurance to small businesses. And the way I would get there is I had to push start my Dodge Colt. So I tried to look professional. I'd park somewhere where nobody could see me, right? And I'll never forget, I went into this business. And I sat down to show this person a presentation. It didn't work out. And I said, okay, no problem. I'm walking out, and the owner of the business says, well, I'll walk you out. I go, no, I'm good. Thanks. No, I'm good. I'm all set. He goes, no, I'll walk you out. And he's walking me. I'm going, when's he going to stop? Because he's going right to my car. I get to my car, so now I'm like, I can't push start my car in front of him, so I have to go through the whole song and dance like I'm going to try to start it. I go, okay, thank you. I get in the car, and I'm like, when's he leaving? He's not leaving. I go, okay. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with it. Is there a problem? I go, yeah. He goes, you want me to call someone? I go, nah, I got it. Boom, just push the car, start it, and run. These things are embarrassing. I don't know about you. I'm just letting you know, we understand. I remember pulling up to a gas station when I was young. I needed gas to get home. All I had was a handful of change. First of all, it's embarrassing to go into a gas station knowing that you're in line, and when you get to pay, you have change, right? And I'll never forget taking my change and spreading it on the counter. First of all, it's embarrassing, and the person behind the counter was irritated because he didn't want to count my change. And he says, I'm not taking that. I go, what do you mean? There's people all around. I go, what's wrong? It's money's money, right? He goes, nah, not to me. He goes, I'm not taking that. Oh, okay. You get change, you put it back in your pocket, and you just crawl out of there. How many of you guys agree these are the type of experiences that build character, right? And it builds character, it builds drive. And I was open. When I tell you something, we were open-minded. I tried everything there was under the sun. I washed windows, I tarred roofs. Any opportunity there was, I took it. But the one smart thing I did at a young age is I started listening to personal growth. When I was 19 years old, I started feeding my mind. That's the one great thing that came out of my first job. Is the guy that I was working for told me, you got to learn how to sell. You got to learn how to communicate. You got to have confidence. And he gave me my first training, which was how to master the art of selling by Tom Hopkins. It was all about motivation and how to communicate. I listened to it. And I'm going to tell you what, at 19 years old, 20 years old, typically you're listening to music. All I did all day long was listen to this over and over and over and over again until it started I could start just repeating the information. It started becoming me. Then I moved on to the psychology of success, how to win friends and influence people. All the same personal growth books that most people go through when they start adopting that in their life. It changed me. It was the most important thing I ever did in my life. As you guys all know, we all know personal growth is so important. And I remember I was feeding my mind, things were happening, I was getting more open-minded, and I remember multiple things were happening at the same time. I'm working hard in the insurance business, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm getting more confidence, and then, but it just wasn't the opportunity for me for the future. And I'll never forget, I got recruited, I was 21 years old, got recruited into my first direct selling company. And I went and looked at it, my brother looked at it, and it was different then than it is now. Like, how much does it cost to join ACN? $299. This company was $5,000, okay? It was a different world back then. And I didn't have $5,000. My brother had some cash laying around, so I took the $5,000 from him. I made a copy of it on a copy machine. I put the copy of the $5,000 in the drawer, and I got started. And he came over, he goes, "Where's my money?" I go, "Hey, listen, I got great news. We just started a new business." He goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "Well, you paid for it." But we are doing this business. And so it was direct selling, network marketing. And I'll never forget it. So excited. Who's excited? Who's excited, right? I was so excited. Oh, so great. I couldn't figure out how to do one thing. I couldn't figure out how to promote the product. I couldn't figure out how to recruit one person. I couldn't figure it. It was a complete flop. Okay? Fast forward years later. Now I'm really deep into personal growth, listening to things over and over again, feeding my mind. So the good news is I'm growing. The bad news is it's hard to apply good information, positive information in the real world. Because how many of you guys realize, anyone ever feel really good? Maybe you went to a training, a motivational course, something where you just felt so good, but the next day, this world sometimes can beat you down so fast you even forgot you had any personal growth. And it was difficult. You're feeding your mind good stuff, but the world is so hard sometimes. And I'll never forget, we get reintroduced to direct selling again. And how many of you realize there's red apples, there's green apples, and what else is there? Brown apples. We call them brown apples now because we used to call them rotten apples, and people used to get offended. "Hey, I don't appreciate you calling." I go, "Listen, we'll change it to another name." I just want you to know, what was I? 24 years old, I was the most rotten of rotten apples you would ever meet in your life. I can't even repeat to you what I said to my twin brother when he brought up the idea of going back into direct selling. Now, I wasn't even the one that lost the money, but I certainly seemed like I had a lot more anger than my brother. And I'll never forget how I felt about it. But I also remember saying, "Nah, it's never going to happen, never going to happen," I walk out. I'll never forget the feeling also is when you're an identical twin, it's very difficult to imagine your twin doing something that you're not going to do and possibly succeeding. Okay, that's not a good feeling. So I was so negative. 24 hours later, I call him and go, "Let's look at it. Complete change. Let's look at it. I'll check it out." So we go and we check out it again, another opportunity. But what was different about the second time is that this particular opportunity had more support wrapped around it. Meaning there was some training, there was some packaging that was different. So instead of, you know what a lot of people experience when they get in direct selling? Someone slapping their back and saying, "Hey, good luck." That's the extent of most training when you really break it down. But this particular company was a little bit different. It actually had some specific training that related to what we do. Now, all I'm telling you this is because on the surface, when we do what we do today, what do we want someone to do when we do direct selling? What we would like people to do, when you guys do presentations and you work, we would like people to become IBOs, yes or no? Wouldn't it be great if everyone you presented to became an IBO, yes or no? Now, if they became an IBO, wouldn't it also be great if they acquired some customers? Would it be nice if they invited some people, yes or no? Would it be nice if they were interested and motivated to become an ETL? Would it be exciting if the person you recruited wanted to earn the fast start bonus and strove for that? Would it be great if the people on your team wanted to become an RC, work towards RD, work towards RVP, eventually became? How great would that be if a lot of people did that, right? So here's the question. My first round in direct selling, I couldn't figure out how to get someone to do that. How many of you would like to know how to get someone to do that? Raise your hand. Let me hear you if you'd like to know how to get someone to do it. Okay. How do you get someone to do that? All these things. And here's how you do it. The best way to get someone to do all those things is to get them to want to do it. Now, everybody wants them to do it, but we got to get them to want to do it. If I joined your team today, would you like me to get qualified, yes or no? Would you want me to go ETL? Would you want me to earn the fast start bonus? Yeah. Would you want me to go RC? Sure. Would you want me to get 100 customer points? Would you like it if I got 600 customer points? Yeah. It's nice wanting someone to do that, right? But wouldn't it be better if I wanted to do it? What if I wanted to do it? Do you realize that if someone joins your team and they want to become an ETL, they want to become an RVP, you can't stop them. So how many of you want to know what the perfect characteristic of the perfect recruit is? Here it is. It's someone that joins ACN because they really like it. And the second characteristic part of that is that they personally made a decision to follow through all the way to SVP. That's it. It doesn't matter what their age is, their race is, their education level, their business experience. None of that matters. There's nothing common among the great people in our business and every business except that they made a choice to do it and they made a choice to follow through to completion. That's it. So what our job is to do is to present this opportunity in a way to get someone to want to do it. Not worry about whether we want them to do it. Of course we want everyone. Wouldn't it be just great if everyone played the game, right? Have any of you presented the business to someone that you know needs this in their life and they just can't see it? Yes or no? Have any of you ever been frustrated? I see it all the time. I can't believe this. What do you mean you can't see what we're doing, how big this is? You know, look, our job is to find people that want to do it and provide an environment to get them to want to do what we're doing, okay? I think everybody knows at this point, there is a big difference between getting someone in ACN and getting ACN in them. What does that mean? There's a lot of people that join ACN because the timing is perfect in their life. Everyone realizes that when you present this business, you know, Dean Trolley did a great job in presenting. Give Dean a hand for what a great job when he talked about presenting. But he made a powerful point. He said, when you present this business, don't be afraid of presenting because you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. You can't say the right thing to the wrong person. I've seen people do flawless presentations. When I mean flawless, like I'm telling you every word was perfect, everything the way they communicated was perfect, everything was incredible. No, it's very hard to replicate it, and nobody signs up. And then I've seen other people that were fumbling over their words, but they were so excited. I don't know how to explain. You got to check this out. People say, shh, I don't know what's going on. I'm in. Because you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. That's the greatest point he made. Our job is just to get out there and present. Who cares? Because when we're presenting, whether somebody joins or not has very little to do with you. Has very little to do with your presentation skills. It has very little to do with ACN, believe it or not. It has very little, believe it or not, it has very little to do with a lot of things. It has just about everything to do with the timing of what is going on in their life. If the timing's right, they're in. If the timing's a little off or really wrong, that's where everyone falls in between, okay? What I find is that when people present, about 10% of the people, the timing's so perfect that they virtually sign up on the spot. How many of you have people sign up on the spot? Okay? And some people think it's because of my masterful presentation, they're signing up on the spot. No, that's not necessarily true. You just landed someone at the right time. They're looking for something. You can't screw this up. Does that make sense? Have any of you, I know this is rare, have any of you did a presentation where someone did not sign up and they weren't interested? Has that ever happened to anybody in this room? Yeah. It's not because you did a bad presentation. It's just the timing's not right. That's it. For whatever the reason is, doesn't matter. Timing's not right. Have any of you had anyone kind of fall in the middle? I got some questions. I want to think about it. Maybe this, that. Have any of you had any delays in the recruiting process? Okay. Here's the reality of the situation. 10% typically say yes. 10% typically say no. And those are your potential customers. So we love no's too. Who loves no's? We love no. Say, I love no. I love no. Say it. Because those are your customers. Oh, no problem. Can you just do me a huge favor and try one of my services? No's are potential customers. So we love no's, okay? But the vast majority of people, 80%, fall in the middle. It's either because the timing's kind of right, maybe it's not right, you have some questions, not sure, I don't understand. Now, a lot of people get upset, but I have a question for all of you. How many of you feel that the more you get to know ACN, the more you get to know a lot of our top leaders, the more you understand about our comp plan, the more you understand about the character of our leaders and this company? How many of you find yourself believing in what we do more and more? How many feel better about what we do more and more? How many of you, when you started really understanding the comp plan, how many of you get more excited about the opportunity? Okay, think about it. Does that happen overnight, yes or no? It's not possible. So when people don't sign up on the spot, why do we get upset? That's normal. That's natural. Well, we want to provide an environment to get the vast majority of people that would sign up to sign up. Here's the reality. If someone doesn't join your business or joins your business and doesn't do well because they chose not to follow through, that's not on you. We can't control everybody. Does that make sense? Okay? But let me tell you what is on you. If the reason they didn't make it is because of the environment you provided, we have to ask ourselves, are we doing all we can do personally or as a team to provide an environment in which we give people a chance to win? If we do our job, then you should feel good about the winners. It's okay that not everybody follows through as long as you're doing the best job you can. Does that all make sense to all of you? What we want to do is provide an environment to where not only people join, but they follow through and get to know us more and more and more so they can cross over from just being in ACN to getting ACN in them. Because when ACN is in you, when you cross over and say, man, wait a minute, this is unbelievable. When you cross over and you fall in love with this and you catch the vision of what we're doing, let me tell you what happens. People get excited. Who gets excited when they catch the vision of ACN? Okay? People get inspired. Let me ask you all a question. Anybody get inspired today, yes or no? These incredible leaders. People believe. When they start believing, things change. People get a sense of purpose. By the way, yes, it's great to make money, but how many of you saw today and witnessed today that this is bigger than making money? This is about changing people's lives. This is about impacting those that want to be impacted. This is about helping those that want to be helped. And it is awesome when you come across this stage one day and they say, congratulations, you just became an SVP. It's even more powerful when people on your team get promoted to SVP and they call your name out and they say how you changed their life. What's more powerful? You get a sense of purpose. The bottom line is when ACN is in you, you believe in what you're doing and you are motivated out of your mind. What happens is you make a choice inside of you to decide that you're not just in ACN, you're going to follow through. You're going to follow through. Who feels that way right now? Who feels good right now? Because I'm going to tell you something. When you feel that way, you can't be stopped. Do you know, we all stand up here, we talk about how important it is to be a great leader and provide support for people. We talk about it all the time. Everything we do is try to how to be the best support system we can. But you want to hear something really funny? If you take all the top SVPs, the top people, and if I lined them all up here right now in direct selling, do you know that most of us, and I say most of us, We didn't have that level of support. It was kind of quite the opposite. We all got screwed over by somebody. We got cheated by somebody. We got abandoned by somebody. We got dropped by somebody. And you know what? The reason those people still became SVPs is because they made a choice. Nothing's going to stop them. They became what? Unstoppable. Say it. And when someone's unstoppable, there's nothing you can do to stop them. We've had uplines do everything in their power because there's something wrong with them. You know, people do self-destruct. Anybody ever meet any people that got problems? They self-destruct. I see people fighting with their downlines. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Fighting with your down? It's your downline. What do you mean you're fighting? It's like an owner of a restaurant fighting with their customers. You don't ever fight with your downline. You support your downline, right? But I see people self-destruct all the time. They do everything in their power to ruin their business. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I've seen people do everything in their power to ruin other people, and guess what? The only people that get ruined are the people with those attitudes. But the people that are in the downlines don't get affected. They actually get stronger. They get more resolve. They fight through it. They don't even care. It fires them up. You know, my upline wants to do, we have uplines that quit all the time, and the downlines keep going. Do you know there are downlines in this room? If I started naming the names of the people you know in this room right now, and how big and powerful their organizations are, and if I told you they had uplines that quit, now get your mind around that. That's called self-destructive behavior. So here's where we're at. You got to first get your mind in that unstoppable mindset. You got to get your mind in that place, okay? But then how do we get more people in that place? How do we get really good at not just getting people in ACN, but getting ACN in them? That's the question, yes or no? Okay, and here it is. It's this simple. It's so simple. It's too simple that most people ignore it. Everyone agrees with it, but not everybody implements it. Those who do, those who will, those who get it will be the next great leaders in ACN. And that is those that understand the power of implementing, utilizing, and promoting events. Think about what I'm telling you. I'm going to tell you why. First of all, what is an event? Let's keep it simple. It's a training. It's a training. Have any of you, and just raise your hand if any of you in this room have ever had a job. Raise your hand. I have another question for you. And all the people in this room, all the jobs you had, raise your hand if that job did require some degree of training. Okay, not only do some jobs require training, some jobs require a 4-year degree. Some jobs require much, much more, right? So, whoa, wait a minute. Before I get to make money, I have to go to college? I have to go to medical school? Wait, how long do I, wait a minute. I know there's a lot of money in being a doctor, but how long do I have to go to school? 8 years? All right, is this gonna cost me anything? Think about that. Think about people who have dreams to be something great, become a doctor. You go to school for 8 years, and then you get a job, right? Did it cost a lot of money to go to school? Yes or no? Wait. You have to wait 8 years, get trained for 8 years, and you have to pay for all that? Doesn't sound right. But it's okay, it's all worth it because year one, you're a millionaire, right? No? You don't get to be rich year one? Don't they have to work hard too? So think about that. Everything that you do, if you want to work at Starbucks, it requires training. Do you know the only industry, one of the only industries that is powerful, that does not require training, is the one we're sitting in right now? There's not a single one of you that have to go to any training. Think about that. You don't have to go to any training. You get to sign up and go to work tomorrow with no experience. Aren't you glad not everything is like that? Can you imagine if you needed some surgery? Something real serious happened. And you're on the gurney, you're being rolled down into the surgery room, and the person's like, I am so excited about what's about to happen. I've always wanted to be a surgeon. I just started today, wish me luck. How many of you are glad that that person was required to get trained, right? Do you know our business has such a high-end potential? How many of you guys realize there is no guarantees, but there is high-end potential here? You all realize that, right? We have such high-end potential, yet some people have no regard for the power of training. Okay, so when I say promoting events, what I'm really saying is providing a support system that can handle any level of growth and level of momentum that you create. If you have one person joining your business a week, 5 people joining, 10 people, 20 people, 50 people, 100 people a week, how many of you would like a support system that can handle any level of momentum that you create? Would you like that? Here's how you do it. You either work smart or you work hard. You either work smart or you work hard. You either utilize events or you don't utilize events. Work smart, you utilize events. You work hard, don't utilize events. Because if any of you ever sat down to try to get someone signed up that delayed the sign-up process, yes or no? Have any of you signed someone up but tried to get them qualified and it seemed like moving a mountain, yes or no? Yeah. Have any of you got someone qualified but getting them to actually set up a meeting and start inviting people? Did anyone find themselves in a situation where that was almost like very difficult, yes or no? Okay, now look, yes, some people do it right away. You know why? Because you're lucky. You found some winners and the timing was right, period. It's called luck. There's luck because people sign up because the timing's right, and there's luck because some people don't sign up. By the way, I love people that clearly say, I am not interested and I'm not signing up. That doesn't bother me a bit. I prefer that because you know they're not, you don't waste any time. They're not in. That's great. Thank you for clearing that up. Try to get them as a customer. It's the ones in the middle that are frustrating. Trying to get the ones in the middle to say yes, move forward, do whatever it is you want them to do. Do you know why it's hard? Because if one person tries to do it to one person, it's difficult. But if you utilize events, it becomes easy. It's hard for one person to translate vision and information and knowledge to one person. But a magical event can do it. Did any of you learn anything here in the last 2 days, yes or no? Did any of you grow in the last 2 days, yes or no? Do any of you have more belief than you did before you got here, yes or no? How many of you in this room are going to be an SVP? Let me hear you if you're going to be an SVP. Let me hear if you believe it. Listen, my story's simple. I get recruited in this company. Person gets me in like everybody else. I'm in. Now, I want you to imagine something. I was a red apple the second time around. First time, second time, when I made that decision, I'm a red apple. I went to the presentation. This is it. This is what I'm doing. I caught the vision. I'm in. I'm in. I'm doing this. I want you to imagine doing a presentation with someone, and they say, I'm in. The person that did the presentation for me, I said, where are you from? This guy was from California. I'm from Michigan, Detroit at the time. Where are you staying? He goes, I'm staying somewhere over here. I go, no, you're not. I go, listen, you're staying with me. That's what you're staying. He goes, what do you mean? I go, you're staying with me because I'm doing this and I'm going to pick your brain. You're staying with me. I moved the guy in my house. And every single second of the day, I'm learning from him, learning from him, learning from him, learning from him. Would you say that's a red apple, yes or no? Okay? And I said, we're doing this thing. And we did the same process everybody else did. Back then, obviously, no Zoom. Okay, let's set up our first meeting. We invited a bunch of people to our apartment, me and my brother. And, I was nervous. I'm like, okay, I got my presenter, though. My presenter gave me confidence. I don't have to worry about it. He's going to be there for me. We packed the room. I'm not sure anyone's going to do it. Does the presentation. Everybody starts signing up. Who would be excited? I'm excited. We learned. We decided, okay, look, we're committed. We're going to do this. We found this room we could rent to do presentations. It wasn't a hotel. It wasn't like a committed office. It was like this month-to-month thing, but it was a room we could rent. So we put our chairs out, our little whiteboard we were using, our TV. Now, back then, we didn't have the screens and the technology. Who remembers, for all the old people in this room, who remembers when if you wanted to watch a television, you had those giant 800-pound big screen TVs, okay? So we had a VCR to play our company video. We set up our, my brother and I are setting up the chairs. We're so excited. And we're getting ready to do our first meeting. The guy that got me involved in the business said, okay, good luck. I go, what do you mean? Good luck. He took off. What? I have to do the first presentation. I've never done a presentation, but I had so much anxiety. I was abandoned by my upline. Say abandoned. Not a good feeling. And I remember I was like, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? What am I going to say? And I was trying to listen to the recordings that he did. I was typing it out. I was doing everything. It took me literally 4 or 5 hours to figure out my opening. That's how nervous I was, right? But I did it, got to the first meeting. I was shaking. It was like, and I got through it. It was horrible, okay? And then this guy, I call him, I go, why don't you help me? He goes, you know what, you need to get some training. And he decided to promote me to go to an event. And so he told me, listen, I want you to go to this company event. This is where you'll learn everything you need. I go, yeah, yeah. Now, I want you to imagine this. At this point, I'm 24 years old. I just spent literally just about 5 years, started at 19, listening to personal growth, the art of selling, the psychology of achievement, how to win friends and influence people every single day, all the time. I can rehearse all this stuff back and forth. The last thing I need is to go to a motivational seminar. And that's what I told him. I don't have any money. I don't need to get motivated. I'm motivated. He goes, you need to go. And he pushed me. He goes, you need to go. I go, I'm not going. I got financial issues. Just, blah, blah, blah. And he kept pushing me and pushing me. And you could call, I don't know if that was promoting events, but he did something that I needed him to do. He said, he kind of slapped me verbally. He said, Tony, just stop for a minute. He goes, you want to be successful in this industry? I go, yes. He said, but you're talking about you can't afford this. He goes, let me ask you a question. He goes, how long have you been working in the insurance business? Now, at that point, it was 5 years-ish. And I told him, he goes, 5 days? I go, no, 5 years. He goes, 5 months? I go, no, 5 years. He goes, 5 years? This is the way he spoke to me. 5 years? You've been working for 5 years selling insurance, and you don't have a few extra $100 to go off and learn this new industry? He goes, you know what your problem is, Tony? He goes, it's the way you think. And he goes, I promise you this. He goes, don't go, but I promise you this. 5 years from now, you still will not have a few extra $100 to do something that you want to do. Now, the way he spoke to me, I'm going to tell you how I felt. I wanted to physically harm him at that moment. I did. He pressed every button in me. But you know what? I'm one of those people that I actually I took it. I needed to hear it that way. Most people you don't ever want to speak to that way. That's just worked for me, okay? And I said, okay, I'll go. So me and my brother decided to go. We drove from Detroit. This particular event was in Baltimore-ish area, right? We drive, we go. And now I'm excited about this industry. Things aren't working very good, and we go to this training. And I knew it was good because it was about 600 people there. The trainer was masterful, excellent trainer in this industry. So good that, how many of you know when a training's good when halfway through the meeting, your knees are shaking and you just want to leave because you want to go home and go to work. That's the way I felt. I went, this is unbelievable. I can't believe it. The way they communicated, the way this event happened changed me, transformed me instantly. I caught the vision. That meeting was so important that was the single moment in time that I fell in love with this industry and made the real commitment that this is what I was going to do for the rest of my life. Let me tell you how important one meeting is. Do you realize I am also one of the other founders of ACN? That was a loaded question. You guys realize it, right? Do you realize that I don't know what would have happened with ACN, but I'm a part of this chain reaction. Do you realize if I didn't go to that meeting, I would have never followed through in direct selling? That started a chain reaction that led to all the things that took place that while we are here, what would you be doing today if I did not go to that meeting? I'll tell you what you would not be doing, we would not be here because there would be no ACN. Is one meeting important? One meeting can change history, okay? And I'm just letting you know that's what happened to me. And me and my brother, we were flying home because of what we learned, what we heard, the way we heard it. We caught the vision. We couldn't wait to get back home. We were so excited. We would go to set up our meeting. We started inviting people. We started doing everything we were supposed to do, and it was great. It was exciting, but it was me and Mike, lifting the 800, squatting to get that 800-pound TV on the table so we could play our little video, do our meeting, and have our few friends help us, and they're doing it. And I noticed something really interesting. All the people that were working with us, Mike and I are excited. They're not taking it as serious as we are. Our team's showing up late. They're not bringing people. They're just not following through. Same group of people. Any new people here today, no one's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And even worse, I'll never forget one guy, my so-called partner, was making faces in the back of the room when I'm doing the presentation. Now, it's hard enough to do a presentation, but imagine your partner, your team going, and I'll never forget thinking, I'm like, what is happening right here? And I'll never forget going to bed that night, thinking about the dream of network marketing. One day having this team, of thousands of people, and I thought to myself, who cares about 1,000 people? How about 100? No. Who cares about 100? How about 50? No. How about 10? Nah. How about one other person that takes this as serious as me and Mike? How about one other person that shows up on time, help us set up the chairs, maybe not make faces. Hey, do something crazy like bring a guest. Something crazy, out of the norm. And I'll never forget laying in bed so frustrated. So frustrated. Why are we so committed to this and no one else is? And it hit me. Now, this is over a little span of time, right? It hit me. I'm laying there, I'm going, wait a minute. What did Mike and I do different than everybody else? We went to a company event. We saw something they did not see. We heard something they did not hear. We learned something in a manner in which they did not learn, and I wasn't good enough at that time to translate that. And so here we're working hard, but we're not getting the results. So I call Mike up the next day. I go, new plan. I go, where's the next event? We looked it up. It was in Chicago. So we're in Detroit. It was Chicago. And we said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get everyone that's with us now and as many people as we can to go to this event. This was like 4 weeks after that. So we started promoting. We didn't know we were promoting. We didn't even know how to promote. We just started telling them, oh, by the way, we're all going to Chicago. There's this training, and we're all going. People are like, why? Because. That's the extent of our training. He's going, she's going, we're going, you're going, we're all going. Why? Because that's what we're all doing. We're going to keep the costs down. We're going to share transportation. We'll share a place somewhere to stay. We'll just keep the costs down, but we're all going. We rallied. We got about 28 people to agree to go with us. And for them, it was a vacation, right? Detroit, Chicago. Chicago's more fun, right? So I'll never forget, Chicago's here. I'll never forget driving in our vans, all broke, trying to figure out how we're going to pay for this, but we're on our way to Chicago. And I'll never forget, everyone's making jokes, I can't wait to get there, we're going to party tonight, this and that, I'm listening to all this stuff, I'm going, all right, whatever. Anyway, we get there. We get to the event. And it was my second time seeing this type of an event. And it was a great training. And how many of you notice that, how many of you heard repetition is the mother of learning, right? You see the same thing twice, you pick up so much more. Dean said that when he was talking about the music, right? You hear the same thing over and over, you start picking it up whether you're trying or not. The second time I heard the training, the same thing I heard, I got 10 times more excited because now I started meaning something to me. I started hearing it deeper. I started hearing it differently because I was working for weeks and weeks and weeks prior. Now I had more experience to apply what I was listening to, and I'll never forget, halfway through the second training, once again, my knees are shaking. And I look at Mike, I go, I'm looking at him, he's looking at me, we're saying the same thing to each other. I go, man, I needed this. I can't believe what I was doing wrong. I didn't pick that up the first time. Now it makes sense. Oh, this, and I'll never forget, my knees were shaking. I want to get out of here. I just want to get back home. I want to get back to work. And I'm telling, how many of you had that feeling, right? You are motivated, out of your mind, right? I'm out of my mind. I look at Mike, he's out of his mind. We are out of our mind pumped. And I look, our team's kind of in the same area. I look behind me, and they're all doing the same thing. This is unbelievable. Thanks for bringing us. I can't believe it. I didn't get it before. Now I understand. And I look in all their eyes, and I see the same look in their face, the same look that we had in our face. And it hit me right there. I'm like, holy crap. I could have never did for them what this meeting is doing for them. I could have never done for them what this meeting is doing for them. And for me, it was actually hysterical. When we left, a lot of these people, we're all young at the time, most of us, and a lot of these people are very immature, as I am. and still am. So issues with that, but that's another conversation. So I'll never forget driving home with the same group of people. They were transformed. They were not the same people. For me, it was like a movie. I'm seeing these goofs that all talked about partying, not being serious. On the way home, you know what the conversations were now? It was all about what's goal setting, what are we going to do when we get home, dreaming, talking about this, talking about all related around the business. And I'm like, is this really happening right now? And so interesting enough, we get back home, we get to our next meeting, Mike and I show up to get the thing set up, and I started witnessing little mini miracles. These goofballs did some crazy things. They showed up on time. Can you believe it? You know what else they did? They helped us lift the TV. Seriously? They actually started dressing a little more for success. You know what? They did some more crazy things. I couldn't believe it. They all invited guests. The biggest goof that was making faces came up to me and said, Mr. Cupisz, I'd like to introduce you to my guest. I go, you messing with me right now? He goes, no, Mr. Cupisz, I would like to introduce you to my guest. He's interested. I go, seriously, are you messing with me right now? He goes, Mr. Cupisz. I go, oh my God, this is happening. This is happening. And literally, I could not, listen to this, I could not get this meeting past 29, 30 people in any given night. But when we went to that training, and that small team of people that were transformed, literally, no exaggeration, within 60 days, we got that meeting between 3 and as high as 400 people a night. And production boomed. Why? Because we had a small group of people that became committed. They caught the vision. They caught the belief. And I always say people perform to the exact degree of how much they believe in what they're doing. How do you get people to believe? Look, some people you don't have to get to do anything because you meet them at the right time to the right person, everything falls in place. You're just lucky enough to get them in your team. Do you know there are people out there that if they just happen to accidentally land on your team, you cannot stop them from forcing you to have a huge residual income? You realize that, right? Wouldn't it be nice if everyone was like that? They're not. But there are people that luck will occur. You all heard that the harder you work, what happens? The luckier you can get. But here's the reality. There's all these people in your team that could be great, could be better. It's the environment that makes them great. It's the environment that makes them better. Create a great environment, you will build a great team. Create a great environment, you will create momentum, okay? And so why am I saying this? Because there are events that take place, but you as a leader need to remember that you got to complete the loop. If you build your business and you don't complete this loop, you will always have a hard time creating momentum. You will always have a hard time building a big business. It will always be a struggle for you because you have to do I call the 3 Ps. You have to peak, present, promote. Say it, peak, present, promote. You peak people, you invite them to presentations. Okay, that's easy. When they sit in the presentation, you present the business to them. That's easy. I'm telling you right now, anyone that's been in this industry for any time at all, just as an example, I've seen children do a presentation, right? You can do a presentation. It's just basically explaining the business like Dean showed you. It's simple, right? But here's what's the most important thing. A lot of people think the presentation is all where it's at. That's not where it's at. It's the next event. If you peak and you present and you don't make the priority to get them to the next event, you will never build momentum. Okay? Now, why is this so important? Okay? Because the event is going to do the work for you. The events will do the heavy lifting. The events will train for you. The events will paint the vision. The events will create the belief. The events is what gets someone to get through the psychological things they need to do this. And what is that? Most of you hear the basics when we talk about ACN. But if anyone looks at ACN, if they don't sign up, you got to ask yourself why. Why would somebody not sign up? If they do sign up and don't get qualified, you have to ask yourself why. Why would somebody sign up and not get qualified? But what if someone did sign up to get qualified, but you couldn't get them to bring one person to a meeting? Why? There's got to be a reason why. Right? But what if they did bring someone to the meeting, but they had no desire to earn the fast start bonus, go ETL, or follow through? Why? Why? There's got to be a reason why. Now look, there's a percentage of people that aren't going to do anything no matter what. Don't feel bad about that. That's real life. We don't know who those people are going to be. Do you know there's a lot of gyms out there? There's a lot of fitness clubs out there. And do you know if you go to any fitness club that's successful, they have a lot of members that pay money every single month. And do you know the amount of members that a club must have to stay in business? A lot more members that can fit in that gym. If every member showed up at the same time, you'd have to call the fire department, the fire marshal. They would shut that business down. Okay, there's a capacity, there'll be a capacity situation. But guess what? They know that most people don't show up. Most people don't follow through. Okay, and that's why they could run a business and get all these people to sign up. What I'm telling you is that there are going to be a certain percentage, just like someone that joins a gym and doesn't work out, you're going to have people join ACN and not follow through. Don't feel bad about that. If that happens, it's not a bad thing. Okay, they're not bad people. Maybe they signed up too fast. Maybe the timing wasn't right. But that's okay. But what's not okay is if the reason they did not sign up, the reason they did not follow through at all these things is because we didn't do the best job we could do, then we should feel bad about it. Does that all make sense to all of you guys? So we got to pique interest, we got to present, we got to promote the next event. When you look at this, there is the ACM presentation. That's what everybody must do. Obviously, if someone's going to follow through or not follow through, they have to see the ACM presentation. But after the presentation, no matter what, you must promote the next event. That's the most important thing. If you close out any presentation one-on-one, I don't care if it's virtual or live, if you don't promote the next event like it is the most important thing that they must see, you're failing them. You're failing you. You're making your life hard, and you're breaking the cycle. Okay? I would tell everybody, end the presentation, get them to the next event. I would tell people go, hey, I did 10 presentations this week. Oh, great. How many people are going to go to listen to a basic training? Because if you did 10 presentations, no one's going to the basic training, you failed. That's how strong I feel about this. Because if someone doesn't go to training, they're probably not going to get qualified. If they do get qualified, they're probably going to struggle getting qualified. If they struggle to get qualified, it's because they probably didn't want to get qualified. If they didn't want to get qualified, it's probably because they didn't understand ACN. Do you think there's anybody in this industry that doesn't have the perfect experience when being recruited, yes or no? Absolutely. We want to create the best experience we can. And we can't do it just one-on-one. So I always believe, do the presentation, let the Red Apples sign up on the spot. The people that aren't interested, no problem, get them as customers. Vast majority, get them to the next event. Okay? It's not just a presentation, it's not just signing up, it's getting them not only in ACN, it's getting ACN in them. What gets ACN in them? The events will do it. So after your first presentation, get them to a basic training. Whether it's you one-on-one doing it, which is the hardest way to do it, okay, it would be great if every team had a schedule of basic. What is a basic training? It's just the simple things a new person needs to know. It's just basics about the comp plan, basics about inviting, setting up their first presentations, just basics so they get excited about what you're asking them to do. Would it be great if everyone that you talked to signed up in ACN, yes or no? Would it be great if they got a bunch of customers, yes or no? Would it be great if they invited everyone they know? Now, I've seen people expect that from someone who just saw a presentation. Hey, do you like what you see? Yeah. You ready to sign up? Yeah, sure, I'll sign up tonight. Great, we got to meet tomorrow. Because tomorrow, well, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to launch you. We're going to get you qualified. I'm going to get you on all the services, okay? And then I want to meet everyone you know, love, and trust so I can get them on services. It doesn't feel right. You want to get people involved in a process, and you can't do it just one-on-one very easily. So present, 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 show the plan. That's what Presley said. Say, show the plan. Show the plan. Show the plan. Show the plan. But don't stop there. You get them to the next event. You promote the next event. And when I say promoting the next event, this is the greatest tool you're going to use. You know, it starts off with your basic training. Your team does leadership events. Your team does customer training. Any event your team does is training, is an event you can promote for. You know, if someone comes to a presentation, I wouldn't shove them learning every service. Training takes time. It's okay. This is not a one presentation meeting. Just get them to the basic training. Get them to your team's leadership training. Get into your team's customer, whatever your team is doing. And the two big ones that ACN does is the Emerge event, and like we're here today at the Elevate event. Is Elevate a great event, yes or no? Okay. So why do we do these events? Because these events are what we do to get someone to clearly understand who we are as a company, who you are, the leaders in this room, our intentions, our direction, our purpose, our vision. And what these do is they do for you so you don't have to do it. You get to relax. You get to let the leaders come up here and do all the heavy lifting and watch your team transform. And you watch these people get vision. You watch them get belief. And when you have vision, you have belief, that's when people take action, okay? So two major things come from promoting events. When I say thing, I mean benefits. I used to love promoting events because I knew that events transformed me, transformed people that I personally worked with when I started in this industry, and I watch it transform people all along the way. And typically, if you talk to any great leader, you will find out that it was an event like this is where they made the decision that they were going to be on this stage one day. An event like this, Pat Mazur says, people make big decisions at big events. Say big decisions. Big events. You get them in the event, you let the event do the job for you. When I used to promote an event, I don't believe in just telling people to go. If you listen to most people when they talk about events, they say you need to go. Say you need to go. Say you really need to go. Okay, that's what most people say. That's the message most people say. I go one step further. I say you really need, say you need to go. Say it. You really need to go. But more importantly, you need to get as many people to go as you can with you. I would not just try to promote someone to be here. I would get them to get people to go with them. Turn the person that you just promoted to into a promoter. And I would give them all the reasons why. I would say, look, here's the cool thing about the training. Now, whether it's the basic training, the leadership training, a customer training, an Emerge event, you promote the next, whatever that next event is, you promote. Everyone that builds anything big promotes. If you're a musician, do you want people in your concert? You promote. If you're an actor and there's a big movie coming out, you're going on late night talk show, and what are you doing? You're promoting, you're talking. You want people to go. People go because you what? You promote. We peak, we present, we promote. If you don't complete the loop, you will always have a hard time building this business. And I would tell people right off the gates, here's the coolest thing about these events. I don't believe in talking about events to scare people. I would say, listen, you need to go to at least one event. Say that, at least one. I don't say you got to go to events every week. You got to go to events. You got to go to at least one event, whether I'm talking about Emerge. Just go, and then at that point, you can decide to what degree you want to take this business seriously. But you got to go to at least one event. Promise me that, and then you'll meet me halfway. I would never want to scare anybody. Go to at least one, okay? Because this meeting, whatever you're promoting, is going to explain the business. But what this meeting does is, how many of you guys realize that we have systems here? Our job is to keep this simple. And we want people to understand the system. Now, if you try to tell someone your system one-on-one, it goes in one ear, goes out the other. But when you do things at a live event like this, small or large, for some reason it makes a much more impact. So it teaches a system. What do you get to do at events? You get to do recognition. Is recognition important, yes or no? Who gets inspired when you see the people cross this stage? Okay, people work for money. They work for money, but they die for recognition. Remember that. You can do recognition when you do an event. You have testimonials. How many of you heard this? Stories sell, facts tell. Facts tell, stories sell. People get up here and you talk about doing this, doing that, and you have testimonials backing you up. You can do that at events. Now look, an event can be virtual. An event can be local, live. An event can be small, an event can be large, but what is an event? It's where the leaders provide something that everyone else can plug into. Because if you don't provide an event, guess what? You leave it to all the people to do the event. Now, it's easy to get someone excited about ACN, in my opinion, because ACN is very attractive. It really is. It's easy to replicate a presenter. If someone wants to learn how to present, you can teach them how to present. It's not easy to replicate a trainer. The trainers are the leaders that have experience, the leaders that have done it, the leaders that know best how to communicate. Everyone can eventually do it, but it takes time. What leaders do is provide the support that everybody can plug into, whether it's 1 a week, 3 a week, 5 a week, 10 a week, 100 a week. It doesn't matter. If the leaders are providing the events, and any amount of people can plug into those events. Does that all make sense to all you guys? Events transform. So here's the main 2 things I always promote when I ever talk about promoting events. Number 1, it will train you, it will motivate you, it will inform you, but more importantly, you can use an event to train your team, inform your team, motivate your team, transform your team, so you don't have to do it. Now, to me, that's a vision statement. When I say statement, I've literally sat with people, I go, what do you think? And then they're excited. I go, wouldn't it be great if you built 100 people in your team? Yeah. You want to hear some really good news? When those 100 people join your team, you don't have to be the one to present to them. You don't have to be the one to train them. We have a system in place where we have presentations that other people do. You can do it if you'd like. But more importantly, we have trainings. You just plug the people in the trainings. The trainings will train your people. The trainings will answer the questions. And do you realize that when I explain it that way, I have more people sign up, more people interested, more people that believe they can do this after promoting an event than any other part of the training. Why? Or a presentation. Why? Because promoting an event and showing someone that exists gives someone the answer to the question that is in everybody's mind when they look at this, and that is, can they do this? Can they do this? Look, most people can afford it. Today it's affordable. Most people can see themselves getting on some services, maybe acquiring a couple customers. Most people can see themselves inviting people. That's pretty simple, but most people don't know if they could do everything else. But if the support there covers them, don't worry. We've got people that do presentations. Don't worry. We've got the trainings. You build momentum. You just be a great inviter. And we got everything else handled. Then you build belief that you can do it. When you build belief you can do it, then you got people signing up, and immediately they are out doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. When you promote an event, here's key things you need to do. Whether it's just let's say you just did a presentation on Zoom. You just did a one-on-one. Doesn't matter. You did a PBR, doesn't matter. You just finished a presentation. You want to use enthusiasm when you talk about the next event. Even if it's a basic training. By the way, Tuesday night we're going to do a basic training. Now look, if you have 1% interest in what I just showed you, or 100% interest, or anywhere in between, here's the next step. The next step is you have to go to the Tuesday basic training. I'm just calling it basic training. And I would say, look, just agree to go to, if you want to do ACN, if you want to think about it, let's say someone says, I want to do it. I go, no problem. You can sign up tonight, but you have to agree to go to at least one of the basic trainings. Okay? I get people to understand that, so I set the right expectation. Well, I don't really need to know. No, you got to agree to go to one. I'm not saying you need the information. You probably know everything we're going to say, but I just need you to see what we're going to be teaching other people as your team grows. You need to go to at least one. Okay? I never push someone to sign up, ever. But I would push you to go to the training, because I know if I get you to the training, I got a greater chance that you're going to win in ACN. Okay? You got to agree to go to at least one. I promote all the reasons. You're going to learn from the best. You're going to learn from people who have already done what you're doing. And I always use testimonials. Whether it's to close out of presentations, the testimonials always end saying the trainings is what made the difference. Oh, if you got to go to this training, testimonials, and lead by example. What does that mean? That means you commit to go to the training. Now, say I commit to go to trainings. That means you commit to go, you show up, you show other people you're there, or register for an event. When we do events like this, you don't wait, you register up front, you show people that you registered, because people do what you do, not what you say. Does that all make sense? Lead by example. But you promote the event. You show up for the event. Now, the only people that don't like showing up for events, I've had people come up to me. Some of you, if you've been around the industry at all, and I'm sorry if I'm going a little long, I'm almost done, and I am going long. But some people will come up to you, and they've done it to me all the time, and they've said, Tony, listen, do I really need to go to a training? I've already went to a training. Or I've had people say to me, I'm having a hard time getting my people to go to the training every week. That kind of language. Why? They've seen it all the time. I go, yeah. Because they got the wrong attitude about what the training's for. Okay, the training isn't for them. The training is a tool for them to put new people in. Okay, if you saw the same training 10 times in a row, let's all agree, wouldn't you agree it might get a little monotonous, yes or no? Okay, so I want you to imagine you showed up to a training, you have to sit there for 2 hours hearing something you already heard, same information, same way, same joke, same time, everything the same. It'd be a little hard to be a little enthusiastic, right? Yes or no? But I want you to imagine the training's effective, though. It's good. It works. But I want you to imagine just change the dynamics. You're not now sitting by yourself. You have 30 people that are seeing it for the very first time sitting behind you. Now there's a whole other reason you're in that training. You're in that training because your team is about to get trained. Your team is hearing it for the first time. Your team just heard that joke for the first time, the information for the first time, and that meeting is going to transform them from someone that is now just in ACN to where it's going to get ACN in them. Now it's a tool, and that's the way you got to think. Think big. These meetings like we're doing here, this is not just for you. Yes, it's for us. By the way, I want you to know something, and I'm speaking on behalf of all the other founders, the other leaders. I can speak on behalf of all the SVPs in this room. We need these meetings just as much as you do. Every time we come here and we feel what you feel, this re-motivates us. This reminds us of our responsibility, our purpose, why we need to be doing. This isn't just for you, it's for us too. But what I do know is that whatever these things do, they do bigger and better than we can do on our own. So we can either work hard in life or work smart. If we work smart, get great at promoting events. You get good at putting people in events, and that's the only thing you're good at. You can accidentally become an SVP in ACN. You can accidentally become an SVP. Now, what does that mean? That means you just get good at putting people in these events. Let these events share the vision. Let these events create the belief, okay? And you're going to watch things happen that are good that you cannot control. You're going to watch things good that you can't stop. You're going to build a team that becomes unstoppable because you can't stop someone when they have the vision. You can't stop someone when they believe. You can't stop someone when they make a personal commitment. You can't stop them. Does that make sense? So here's what you need to do. You need to do two things. You need to remember you have to close the loop. You peak, you present, you promote. Say it. Peak, present, promote. If you peak and present and don't promote, and you don't close that loop, no problem. It'll just take you longer. How many of you want to become, you know, we can't say get rich quick because that's not real. But how many of you would like to speed it up as fast as you possibly can, right? You know how you speed it up? You peak, you present, you promote. You promote the next event. You get them to the next event. If you don't get them to the next event, you failed. And like, I'm harsh when I say that. I literally have told people that. Oh, I did 9 presentations. Is it great? Good, congratulations. How many people are going to show up at the training? Nobody. You failed. I'm not here to take people's money. I don't want the $2.99. Do you want $2.99? What do you get when you take someone's $2.99? Nothing. What you want is people to fall in love with what we're doing. What you want is to set the right expectations. You want them to understand what we're doing so they don't get disappointed. You want to set the right expectation. You want them to get the right information so they are excited about what they're doing. I don't want your $2.99. I want you to want to do ACN. I want you to be as excited. Who's excited about ACN? Okay? Get people involved in events. You will create magic in your business. Now listen, here's what you need to do. You're leaders in this room. A lot of you are working with the best teams. We are so grateful for the leadership in this. You have no idea how grateful we are for the SVPs, the leadership we have. We have the best people, I believe, in the direct selling industry, hands down. Greatest leaders you'll ever see. They have great systems. They already have basic trainings. They already have this stuff lined up. If you're in a team, unfortunately, let's say where you may be a satellite team or maybe a developing team where that support's not there for you, here's the bad news. The bad news is you don't have that support for you. Here's the good news. You can create that support for other people. You can create that support and be a leader. A leader, what's the difference between a leader and everybody else? A leader provides support. Everybody else plugs into it. Everybody's important. If you're a leader and you're providing the support, you're important because people need support. But if you're someone that says, I got 5 million other things going on, I can't really do all the support, I'm going to plug in, no problem. Leaders need everybody, and everybody need leaders. We need each other. We're a team. That's why we do it. If some people can step up and lead, great. We're here to be a family. We're here to help everybody. Every one of us in this room, no matter how fast you go, how slow you go, what you want, we are a family. We're a team. There's so much here. We work together. We've done this for 30 years. We've made history. We're going to continue to make history. We do it together. We can do this. What you need to do is decide. If you don't have support in your market, you got to step up and learn how to provide that support every consistently, so people can plug into that basic training, and you have something to promote. Peak, present, promote. You've got to get them to a basic training. After that basic training, you guys, do me a favor, take a picture of these 2 events so you get this QR code. There's 2 events. Now, I'm going to give you a strategy. Who wants to hear a good strategy? Who wants to create crazy momentum? Let me hear you. Who wants crazy momentum? All right, I'm going to give you a strategy. Okay, why do we do events? We do an event because it's a stepstone to the next event, because we know learning is a process.